All right. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the TFTuesday Podcast. My name is Zill. It's good to be coming back from a wonderful, not so wonderful weekend, actually. I had to go deal with my winter tires and I got a bit scammed. So I'm not terribly thrilled, but we have a massive snowstorm coming tomorrow. So I did not have much of a choice. But what you do have a choice in is signing up to our Patreon. So if you do like what we do here, you can always check out patreon.com/TFTuesdayPod and chip in a few bucks. It really helps us to keep this show going. As you heard, we've been doing this for 4 years now, which is a wild amount of time. And, we're already 150 episodes in. So, I'm sure we'll be making plenty more in the rest of this season and in the new year. But enough about that. I'm really excited because we have a special returning guest here to chat with me today about a whole slew of topics. Gabriel Moon, would you like to reintroduce yourself?
Hi, I am writer Gabriel Moon. I work full-time writing TF. I've been at it, I think, full-time since summer of 2020. So yeah, I'm getting close to my, this will be 5.5 years.
Yeah, you're a little bit older than our podcast.
Yeah, I've got upwards of some 500 stories. But yeah, I specialize in animal and anthro transformations, and a bit more skewed on the male side. And yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, no, it's good to have you back again. I think the last time we had you on was season 4?
I want to say it was fall of 2023. I was visiting the boyfriend, that's why I remember.
4. Yeah, that would have been season 4. I can't believe I have the seasons synced up to the times of the years.
That is impressive.
That's me. But no, it's good to have you back.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
And I know it's been a while.
Sorry to hear that you got scammed.
Yeah, it was just kind of like I had a bit of a fender bender in a parking lot, and the other person was at fault, so I didn't have to pay for anything. But when the car went in for repairs, that was when my original tire appointment was scheduled for. And so when I had to rebook it, all of a sudden nothing was free until December 26th. And if anyone knows anything about Canada in the winter, that is way too fucking late. So,
it's too late now.
Yeah, it's too late now, right? So, I was like, fuck, what am I going to do? And I thought I had a good deal lined up, but it turns out that mechanic only does tires on rims switching, and mine are not on rims. So I had to go somewhere else. And then that place was like, oh, well, we told you 100 on the phone, but, it wasn't on rims, and that's why it's 200. And I'm like, bro, I called you and explained my situation. So what do you mean you didn't know? But anyways, at that point, it's like, you know what? I don't have the energy to fight with this person. So I was like, whatever. But yeah, not great. I'm still a little bit annoyed, honestly.
I do not have a car, but I have heard similar stories from friends with car dealerships. It sounds incredibly frustrating. Yeah. But yeah, I was about to ask you the most Canadian question ever. How much snow do you got down there?
Oh man, we have none right now. I'll be honest. So we had some snow earlier in November. We actually had the earliest snowfall in a long time in Toronto. So that was November 1st, not November 1st. It was November 7th, I think. And then that was only 2 or 3 centimeters. And then we had more snow, I think 1 or 2 days ago, but it didn't even stick. So it was less than a centimeter. And then now we're supposed to get, I think, close to 10 centimeters over the weekend. And I know that all of this sounds like gobbledygook to our American listeners. I'm sorry, I don't know the inch conversion off the top of my head. So I know what the fuck is a kilometer. I'm sorry. I'm giving them to you all in metric.
Yeah, we have a light dusting up here, but it's been really weird. Just because we're in a crater, we tend to miss a lot of the big Ontario weather events. It's kind of really weird, and we've only had a couple instances of snowfall, and I don't think it was more than a centimeter or 2.
Wow, I'm surprised by that.
I know. Yeah, we normally get a bit of a snowfall in October. Historically, Halloween's here. We've gotten snow on Halloween more than once, specifically on the 31st. But Yeah, no, we just have a
yeah.
little bit of a dusting. I don't know if we're getting that storm.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I think it's mostly southern Ontario, so you might not be even getting that. Because I know it's actually moving through here, and then it's going over to Chicago, which is where MFF is. So
oh, no.
I am hoping, I'm hoping, because this is all before the con, so I'm hoping the snow sticks around, because we haven't had snow at an MFF since, I think, 2019.
Oh.
So it would be nice to have snow there again.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like the most Canadian conversation. Well, I guess kind of Midwest too, really, but like this is how 90% of Canadian friends are made with that starting.
Yeah, exactly. You talk about the weather and you go, "Oh, I don't know about that, eh?"
Yeah.
Or something.
Oh,
and,
have to put on the boots before I go to Tim's, eh?
Yeah, eh? Get a double. I don't know what fucking accent I'm doing. I'm not doing it properly, but whatever. But anyways, yeah, no, I'm excited to have you back here, and in particular, there was a topic I really wanted to chat with you about, because I know you have experience working with it, both like from a story perspective and also just from a personal enjoyment perspective as well, and that's related to like mass transformations. And I don't really think like we've touched too much on like group TFs or like big like crowds of people getting transformed and stuff like that. And I think it's a really interesting concept. So I was curious to know a bit more about what your experience has been with those sorts of mass TFs and like how you generally find enjoyment in them.
Well, I think there's so many different facets that you can look at mass transformations, whether it be like a small group of people or like kind of like a widespread thing. And I think perspective is probably like one of the kind of key things, like generally when you're experiencing a personal transformation or following a character transforming, you're following their point of view. But like with a mass TF, you have the option to focus on one person's perspective of the whole thing, go from person to person, jump scenarios depending on how widespread it is. Like there's so much kind of room to and like you can explore themes a little bit better too. Like there's the whole like, you know, there's horror elements, you know, will this happen to me? There's sort of that anxiety, you know, what's going on. There's definitely been a few instances I've seen where it's just kind of like the TF is reality warping, so like everything slowly becomes normal in people's minds as it goes on. Like it's really a kind of multifaceted topic. I guess I can start poking at like small group TFs. Just to, and spread myself out. But like I think one of my favorite tropes is having one person within a group, having people TF one by one, and that sort of anticipation and concern and worry as you watch one person TF then the next, knowing that it's coming for you, be it either in a small space or, you know, something as days and weeks. I really like that mind space. When you give the character time to really reflect on how their life will change before it does.
Right.
Like that's or like it's kind of the same in gradual changes too, but like also viewing it from the lens of seeing other people go through it, how they're reacting. And again, it goes back between like unwilling and willing TFs too. Like, is this something you want to happen? Is this something that's terrifying? Is it going to, you know, is it fundamentally changing the way they're looking at the world? And you wonder how well you'll be able to handle that too when it comes to your turn. That
and like almost like a feeling of dread, I imagine.
Yeah,
like an unwilling kind of transformation.
And like you can do that. Like Kate did a wonderful one. It was like 4 people in a circle making wishes, and each wish was twisted, and each changed one by one, and and it was basically like the last person was. She did 2 on that subject, and I think one kind of looks at that anticipation a little bit more. I believe the last person became a squirrel, but I can't quite remember. But yeah, it was like that kind of anticipation, and I guess the same. Like I really love like the mad scientist throwing people in a zoo or a barn or something like that. It's one of my favorites. I've done multiple on the subject, but just like watching people in mid-change kind of going through getting used to their new lives and, you know, being like, oh, that's going to be me soon. Like I love that kind of anticipation and build up. But I think
Yeah.
like when people talk about mass change, like they're thinking like kind of like, you know, worldwide, or, you know, local, or even localized area, where like people start changing, sometimes at random, sometimes into specific things. And I know there's some great artwork of that. Well, I guess like the whole Pleasure Island trope is really a mass change.
Oh yeah, no, that's 100%.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that
one just kind of popped in. Yeah,
concept. Yeah, that's the first one I think of when I think about a mass TF, especially because like you do have the dynamic of some people are changing sooner or faster than others. There is a way to kind of like control it depending on like how you indulge, so to speak, and like you have frequent scenarios in which one person will be seeing another person change, like in the film, the original film, where like one person is changing much more rapidly than the other, and you know, you have that whole interplay, and also knowing that that's happening in localized scenarios all around the island.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, and that and a lot of the other mass change scenarios I've referenced. There's that element of being unaware, and who becomes aware of what first, or just that being a facet of the mass change, in that some or all of the process leaves the person unaware, and just you know, when does panic start, or joy? You know, these don't always have to be sort of unwilling, unwanted, but that, I guess, that does kind of tend to be the trope, because it's hard to get like a group of willing people together. Unless
they're all making wishes.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I think also one of the things that I found interesting about it is, and this is more of like the art side than the written side, but like when you have multiple people changing at the same time, particularly if they're not changing into the same thing, you get to see a variety of different, you know, forms and like stages of in between with the transformations, and people's individual reactions to that, and seeing them kind of juxtaposed against everyone else who's undergoing that, visually is very impressive. And then in written scenarios too, it's like if they're all having it at the same time, I mean, you can kind of spotlight each one in a story, but you also have the interplay between the characters as well, in terms of like, oh, I see this is happening to you, and you're pointing out that this other thing is happening to me or to this other person. And I feel like, I think when it comes to like contrasting that against a solo transformation, particularly in like, I think sometimes with art, if you're doing like not with art, with writing, if you're doing like a first person limited view, unless you've got like a mirror, it's kind of difficult to like talk about all the changes that are happening to you. But if you have someone else there, I mean, they could be describing exactly what's happening, and you could be doing vice versa for them.
Or if they're the same thing. I feel
like there's something in the...
Sorry. I was just going to say, it's like a mirror into each other as well, if they're turning into the same thing. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I agree. And I think that, I don't know, especially, I've been thinking about this just because I've been chipping away at some stories in the background of my own. And I have often liked to write in first person limited. And I really don't find that to work well with transformation stories. And that's kind of been an interesting revelation for myself. Just because all the ones I've written publicly have been third person, but like I was really trying to see if I could like find an angle for that, and I was like, unless you've got someone else there, it doesn't really work, because the other person would have to be like articulating what's really happening to the things that you might not be able to see in the
Are you sure you're having a problem with that? I might reference you to a little unknown book series in the TF community called Animorphs that does a lot of first person solo TFs.
I mean, okay. In my defense, after a certain point in the books, the transformation descriptions are not too detailed, which is fine because we've already been over it a few times.
That's true.
There's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, I guess I just like, I don't know. Maybe this is just like my own reflections or self-doubt speaking, but like I feel like a lot of folks in the TF community, if you write a transformation story and the TF isn't really well described, people are going to be like, well, what the fuck am I reading for? Unless it's like, oh, it's going to be a longer post-TF narrative, which that's separate. But like, particularly with the changes, I feel like people would be like, Did you just skim over the reason I clicked the story open? You know, like
I do find, in your defense, I do find myself inserting mirrors into like almost every scenario.
Yeah. But you know, one of the other facets to Mass TF that I find really interesting is when you get like implications on like reality. So like, for example, and man, this is a deep cut. So if people know what I'm talking about, you know, hats off to you. But back on CYOC, there was the whole Chronovac series that people would contribute to. Yeah, and for those who aren't aware, the Chronovac series was basically, what if you had a program that you could use to transform yourself or others by like putting in different like input sliders, etc. And so this obviously had a bajillion different permutations. But one of the things that I think about when I think about that series is a lot of the stories that were then written also had an element of warping reality to them. So like if someone, for example, wanted to become an anthropomorphic red panda, they could also change it so that like the world around them reformed so that they had always been like that, and maybe like their family would also become red pandas, or like, you know, you'd have a universe where there's a bunch of anthros around or what have you. Basically you could really do anything with it. The rules around using this device were like almost non-existent. It was just kind of a plot device that everyone could use. And so I think about that because it was so often used in terms of really changing reality as a whole to kind of incorporate in someone who's been transformed. And so you could get a variety of different situations in which this person could go around and like, and this person, as in like whatever main character in the individual stories were, they could go around and be like, okay, I want to become this, and therefore all these other people are going to change. And like, all these people would change and then like just completely act like it had been normal the whole time. Sometimes even the main character would like think it was normal the whole time afterwards. So I think about that a lot, just because on the one hand, it's a very easy way to wipe away a lot of consequences for a transformation. But on the other hand, it can be really interesting from the dynamic of like, how are you changing? How are people's like personalities changing? And like, how are the new versions of these characters going to interact with one another? It's almost, I mean, it is basically hypno adjacent, but with more of an interesting twist.
Yeah, I've read a variety of those scenarios, and it's interesting. There's some where the character will change one of their friends, or well, I guess it's you. They're choose your own change is mostly second person. But like you'll see someone change one friend and everyone react as that's normal, and like they might be the only anthro, and then you know you change another and see the mix, or you get like mass change scenarios. I think I remember reading one recently, and I try not to go on there too much. It's just it's very hit or miss is what I'll say. Sometimes you'll click on something and you'll be like, oh god, why is this allowed to be a thing? And it's like, this is not what I thought it was, because their tagging system is awful. But I did remember reading someone was turning themselves into a T-Rex and kind of devolving the world around them, and that was kind of neat. Like various people would, or like it would like spread slowly outward, and people would come within the sphere of influence and start to change into a random dinosaur. There was an artwork actually. It was only released as 13 pieces. I don't know the artist, but I know the commissioner, and I did get to see the sketches for the planned final few. But yeah, it was like a meteor hits, and then a small group of people start turning into dinosaurs, and basically every form of animal and plant life around would turn into dinosaurs as they came in contact with other people who were changing, and there would be like, you would see like predator-prey dynamics. And as it kept expanding, there were different, like, you see some people at a wharf restaurant changing. You see some more aquatic forms. You see, like, someone who turned into, like, a pteranodon or some such. I'm bad on the subspecies, and I know it's changed since I've looked into it. But, because I think, like, pteranodon or pterosaurs are, like, a classification. As opposed to actual species, but like regardless, there's like a character introduced in the first, and you see them flying through the various panels. But yeah, that one, it was never finished, but I had talked to the original commissioner about it, and he did show me some of the the plan sketches. So that was neat. But yeah, that was kind of a neat concept. I have a client that has me working on one where everyone in the world turns into Cowtars and only the protagonist is aware anything's different. So as the changes, like it goes over days or weeks, and as the changes happen and become more normal actions, nobody remembers things being any different, even though like various like, okay, so we're cow people, but why do we have cars? There's just a bunch of cars here. Oh well, let's get rid of them, I guess. And they don't see anything. They can't make the connection. And like the idea is just like there's no explanation in the story. Sometimes you don't need one, but I guess like the main character is the only one aware of the changes happening and can't find anyone else that is also aware of them. So there's kind of that. It explores that isolation, whereas like his parents, his girlfriend, his boss, like are all becoming, and himself are all becoming Cowtars, but he's like the only one having to get used to it, having to get like used to like chewing cud and eating grass, and
and everyone else just adapts immediately. You know,
and it's just normal. And
well, it's so actually this reminds me of something else that I wanted to touch on, because obviously a lot of these kinds of mass TFs are often caused by things like like some sort of like magical event, some sort of like changing of reality through extraneous means or whatever. But one of the other methods that I have seen used more than once is like using like a virus or like an infection to kind of spread it around. And I feel a certain way about some of these stories sometimes.
It's like zombies, but hot.
Recent global events. Yeah, like zombies, but hot. But, it's funny because, and I guess I'll say actually, have you watched the show Pluribus yet?
No, I haven't.
Okay, do you mind if I give you some spoilers?
Go for it.
Okay, so for anyone who hasn't watched, spoilers for the show, maybe skip over it, this portion. But so there's a show on TV right now that is all about mass TF from a mental changes perspective, and it's called Pluribus. And I was watching the show, and I was sitting there like, wait, what? Because I didn't really know what it was going in. The concept is basically that humanity gets infected by this alien virus. That basically makes everyone into a hive mind. And essentially there's like, I think like 13 people who end up being immune, and like a bunch of people die when this happens because like they all have like seizures, and so there were people who were like operating planes or whatever. But like for the most part, most people are fine, and then they're all happy. They're all happy, and they're all part of this same hive mind, and they're like, we want the remaining 13 people to join us because you'll be so happy. And I'm watching this and I'm like, okay, so we've got a mass TF from a personality perspective. We've got a character who is left watching as reality is literally changed in an instant around them. They seem to be the only person who really wants to go back to how it was before, and they're just watching all these other people just be getting totally used to it, going about their lives, and telling her how great it is and how that she should totally join them, and they want to find a way for her to join them. So I was literally watching that, and I'm like, this is a mass TF. It's just a personality one instead of becoming hot anthros. But I was like genuinely surprised by this because I don't know, I wasn't expecting that, and also I haven't heard anyone talk about it yet. And I'm like, guys, this is like personality change. Like this is very clearly, because they're all technically still in there, but they're all happy now, and they're all like part of this one hive mind being. It's like the Borg, but they're all like pumped up on like weed the whole time. I don't know, like they're all like stupidly happy and like super like happy, and they want to make sure that the main character is happy, so they're like, we'll do whatever you want. You want a grenade? Sure, we'll give you a grenade if that makes you happy. And she's like, what the fuck? But anyways, I was thinking about that when the topic came up, and I was like, oh, that is a mass TF, and I haven't heard anyone talk about it yet. So anyway,
I've got one for you. Same premise. Star Kids, guy who didn't like musicals. It's part of their like Hatchetfield series plays. It's basically the same idea. It's like an infection from a meteorite comes down, and essentially it's kind of beyond the play lore, but it's kind of an eldritch god that's implanting itself into human bodies through like fluid contact, but it just everyone infected starts singing, and they often just they present the scenarios in song, and the joke is that the one character just really hates musicals, and at the very end, like when he starts succumbing to the power of the meteor, he starts singing at the very end and is this like beautiful singer. Yeah, so it's but yeah, there's that kind of same element too. It's like they're all singing about being happy, but in truth they're all being possessed by this eldritch god whose presence gets expanded on a bit more in some of the other media they put out. But yeah, that's it's basically the same premise except with singing.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. I mean, we don't know how this show is going to end. I don't know when we'll find out more and stuff. It's only like it aired like 5 episodes so far or something. But like, I'm curious to see where it goes. And again, I'm just surprised that I hadn't heard anyone like talk about it yet in any spaces. And I guess again, it's probably because it's mental focused. It's not really like, everyone just turned into hot anthros or something. But like, that's a really, I don't know. I find that to be super interesting, and like the whole exploration after those changes have happened, and like through the lens of this main character who's really not a good person. She's like kind of awful, but like still wants to like help humanity somehow, I think is a very interesting setup. But anyways, this is all to say, like, I feel like with mass TFs, especially in those kinds of situations, there's so much to explore both during the changes and also afterwards. And I find that is something that I wish was explored a bit more, just like in some of our community work. And I feel like part of that is just because like if you're writing more people, that's more work. If you're drawing more people, that's more work. So, unless it's like a big commission for someone, it's like people aren't going to go to that effort, and I cannot fault them for that, honestly.
Yeah, you do have to. I guess I can talk a little bit about the challenges of doing that. You really have to like pick your focus, like especially for a commission. If you're like kind of limited in words, if it's kind of like your own thing, you can, make it as long as you want. But you do kind of have to pick your focus. If it's one person, if it's jumping perspectives, if it's like a mass, like a global scale, that you're looking at people in different scenarios, like. It's just like anything else. You really need to like, what story are you trying to tell while this is all going on around? And sometimes it's the story of what's all going around. But again, it's just to like have random scenarios isn't necessarily that engaging, and it's interesting to see that that personal perspective or multiple people, just to get that kind of like cohesion.
Yeah,
that can be challenging too, and also. This, from a writer's perspective, it is so hard keeping track of how much someone's changed at various points and making sure you don't either double up or miss something entirely. And I'm having this problem. I'm going back to it's the board game TF Trigger, except this is Wanted. It's like like a fun adult party game where you get a random animal, random gender, and then you act out, and your challenges are to just perform various tasks that would either be easier or harder as your body parts change, and if you lose, a body part changes. But it's like, it's all in fun, and it's you change back at the end of the night type thing. So like the people doing it are willing, and there's like I think there's like 6 levels of changes, so like 6 losses, 6 changes, and you're done fully, but you're still you still maintain awareness. And again, some of the actions are sex acts, so it has to be consensual going in.
Of course.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a fun, and like the winner would technically be the one who isn't changed, but then they'd probably just let themselves be changed anyway. It's just it was a fun little scenario just for like for people who like the willing side of changes. Because
it's funny you mention that, because it reminds me of like the concept behind the To Change like tarot card game, because like it's very much like, we're in a scenario and we are incentivized to a degree to potentially like take changes to make things easier, but like if you change too much then you lose, in quotations. But like we're also all kind of like, well, we want to have at least some changes, we're here to change, right? Like, so I always find that tension to be really funny for people who want to be transformed, because it's like, well, how much am I going to dip into this, and how much am I going to like try to like win the objective, and how much do I just want to get described being changed?
Yeah, exactly. It's like win-win.
Yeah, exactly. Well, then I guess my other question would be, obviously creating mass TF, like there are pitfalls associated with that too. What are your kind of like thoughts around the drawbacks? Like, are there any kind of like drawbacks to creating mass TF scenarios that you have to think about when you're creating them, or any that you find are just kind of like a little bit off-putting?
I guess on the writer side, you really have to know what you're doing when you go in. You can't kind of let these things flow necessarily. As a commission, like I guess you can to a certain degree, but if you're not doing it kind of continuously, then it is hard to keep track of everything. I usually have like off to the side, I have like a bullet point of like various parts that people have changed, who the characters are, where they are, that I go off of when I'm doing larger changes. But then, scale is important, and just kind of limiting it, because you don't want to repeat the same changes in the same story, because that just gets boring. So you want to, especially if it's kind of like the same thing, you want to make sure the major points are only kind of expressed once. I recently did a kind of like a mass dog change TF, so like I only focused on a few people turning into different breeds and just general actions. I kept it relatively brief, except for like the main character, but yeah, like it's like, oh, you're turning into a dog, oh, you're sniffing things, oh, you're playing with each other, which, that's everyone's kind of undergoing it, but you have to like take very specific snapshots and be careful not to repeat yourself within the same story. Like now it's fine, like if you want to do like another story on that take in that world and like from a different person's perspective, but like in the same story, it's generally like when you're reading a TF story, you're just kind of like, you want that flow, you want that conclusion. If you're writing that, if you're writing for of an adult nature, like you do kind of want that. But
I also think that like one of the things that I sometimes, not to say like people need to like be more cognizant of it or anything, but I always find that one of the potential pitfalls with mass TAF is like if you're doing the kind of virus angle, I think sometimes the way it can come across is not always the most tasteful. I mean, I think about, and look, in the midst of it, I'm not going to yuck people for doing it because we were all coping in different ways. But I think a lot about like things that are like based around COVID. It's like, is that really the way we're going to, okay, that's a choice, like I think that that in particular was something that I always found a little bit off-putting, and definitely like things centered around viruses hit a little bit different afterwards. So I always just, when someone's engaging with that sort of like trope and approach, I just hope that the intent is very clear from the like author or artist's perspective, because otherwise I feel like you can really get lost in the sauce, and then it really just becomes a question of why are we rehashing this as like the vector for your mass TF,
Yeah, so as someone who did write mass virus TFs during COVID, it's fine. I will defend.
I'm not putting you on.
No, I know. No, I didn't feel like it was. My sort of counter to that is, you do have to be very careful. Like, I strongly go with write what you know, write what you've experienced, and sometimes writing is cathartic for coping with a variety of different feelings and emotions. I wouldn't tread on territory that I didn't personally experience. Like I wouldn't tread on like I didn't experience any loved ones getting ill, so I didn't really want to sort of tread on that, and I also didn't want to tread on some of the politics, just because people tend to, like, I love talking politics, but there's a time and a place, and sometimes people want escapism in the TFs. But I tried to focus more on the isolation and the uncertainty aspects, which most people were going through, but something I could relate to. And then I also tried to leave it like more focused on the what's the person's life going to be not knowing, as opposed to it's it does sort of speak to that. Well, in either fiction or reality, we didn't know what our lives would be going out of it, but I try to focus on the change itself being the thing we don't know. So in of that sense, exactly. It's escapism, and then I try to avoid focusing on a lot of the realities that would be like what you were saying, that would be disrespectful to other people who were going through things at a much more difficult rate. But yeah, it is challenging to kind of toe that line, and it's obviously easier to avoid real world scenarios and just go full out zombie apocalypse.
Oh yeah, or just be like, oh, reality sure do be changing because of this meteorite or whatever, and kind of almost hand wave it a little bit, not to put any disrespect on taking a very hard science approach to this kind of thing, because I do find that interesting, but at the same time, I'm like, sometimes it's easier to just be like, I don't know, bro, it's magic.
No, exactly.
Just you gotta roll with it,
or it's been said that some science we don't know has been considered magic at one point or another. So sometimes you don't need to specify.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, then I just thought of one last one that I want to mention before we move on, and that is the isekai scenario, because I've definitely seen, and this isn't the truest form of it, but situations where you as a character end up in this fictional world or fictional area or just alternate reality, whatever, and you get changed to kind of match the reality around you. That can sometimes be a group of people and therefore be kind of a mass TF, but also has this sort of reality changing influences, which I find are interesting. What are your thoughts on those sorts of scenarios?
The one I'm not a huge fan of the genre, but the one that pops out to me is Centaur World, because you have the horse from the main story gradually becoming more kind of cartoony as she explores this. I think it's a parallel reality. And slowly, less so in personality and more so in body shape, but I guess the personality comes from getting to know the other main characters. But
oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I confess I didn't watch season 2. However, I did. I hear it ends with a bang. Just the story of the lead up of, but anyway, that's besides the current topic. But yeah, it is. It can be interesting too, as a way to point out how the character is adapting emotionally by showing it, by using the parallel of having it happen physically, which I think is a really good storytelling trigger.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, it's not. I've written a few, and I tend to shy away from franchises that I don't know anymore. Now that I'm kind of established and I have some levity in what I'm able to take on, because I find it I did one where someone was transferred into the body of a character from WoW, or sorry, no, League of Legends. I'm going to get some. There's going to be some hate comments on this one for that, mixing those up. But and it's I knew nothing about the lore or anything, and I had to look it up. And it's okay, yeah, the character hates the body and has to emphasize how much they hate it and how inconvenient it is. I'm okay, that's interesting, because it can be, and I mean, being transported to the body of an anthro. It's hard for me to see reasons people would hate that, but you work with your imagination, I guess.
Exactly.
But yeah, I guess it would be your sense of smell would be so much better, so you would smell everything you wouldn't want to, type thing, I guess, is one example. But yeah, it is an interesting take. It's not necessarily my particular favorite, but there's definitely some fun room to work in. Some interesting perspectives.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I did want to pick your brain a little bit about some formative transformation media that, frankly, I don't have as much of a basis in that perhaps I should. And one of those is Digimon, because it's been around me in the past. I have a friend who swears by it, and I probably should have taken his advice a long time ago and dove into the franchise a bit more, but I'm unfortunately a bit lazy. I know that you've had some experience with Digimon and that it has a variety of like transformation based content within it. And so I'd love to hear a little bit more as to what the appeal is behind it and what your experience has been in terms of interacting with the property as well as creating any sort of like fan work outside of it.
So Digimon's an interesting one. I was at the target age when it came out, so I literally grew up with it. Like I was like 10, 11 when it came out, when the dub came out, somewhere around there. So I was like right at the target audience. I remember watching the first airing of the English episodes. Loved season 1. I didn't like season 2 at the time. It was weird, but it grew on me quickly. Season 3 by far is phenomenal. And 4 didn't quite. It's funny, 4 is the TF focused one, but that one didn't hit me as hard. It hits me harder now going back. But yeah, as a franchise, it's definitely its own thing, and it's dumb that people still compare it to Pokemon. Like they're very different. Other than Monster, hanging out with Monster, like all Digimon, or almost all Digimon are sapient. The franchise focuses mostly on the bond between a human and a Digimon, and generally a child. And I think season 3 really emphasizes that, with the whole imagination of a child facet being kind of what drives the plot forward. But it's like that that bond and that connection helping children through trauma or adolescence or various challenges has been a cornerstone of the franchise. And I think that's kind of like aesthetically, there's a huge appeal as well, because you have your wolves and your dinosaurs and your very conventionally attractive forms, but it does really kind of really speak to that sort of emotional bond, and it's a bit of a trope in shonen anime. Yeah, you protect the world with your friends type thing, but it really did hit me at a really formative time, and it's just one of those franchises that has stuck with me. I've seen most content. I am slow on, there's a new anime. We were spoiled this year for Digimon. We got the first console game. I heard
a lot of stuff came out.
Yeah, we got the first console game since 2001, but that game was a port from a game that came out in, I think, 2018 in Japan, or sorry, 2021. And like before that, we had, I think, like 2015 to 2016, we had 2 or 3 games. We had 2 games, and then we had like a sequel to one of them a couple years later. But it's been dead, like no Digimon video game content, and the game is Digimon Story Time Stranger is amazing. Like not just for a Digimon game, but just like a console game. Like it's so visually appealing. The story's really well written, voice acted. It's just I cannot say enough good things about the game. Like it is easily a 100-hour plus game that you can just go through and want to do the story again. Like it is absolutely beautiful. They knocked it out of the park. They had been working on it for a very long time, and they just kind of like, oh, by the way, we have this Digimon game coming out next year, and it's basically done. Have fun, and it just kind of came out of nowhere. We have a new anime. We're, I think, 6 or 7 episodes in. I need to watch them. I've been slacking. The card game has actually really taken off. I'm a TCG player, so I have a lot of opinions, but historically, right now the TCG market is really oversaturated, because like every company is trying to bring their franchises into games, and you can they're so expensive, you can only afford to play a couple. Like if you're getting into a new game, you're probably giving up another game, or at least as much as you would spend. So it's kind of like, especially if it's the same company putting them out, like Bandai did Digimon, they do One Piece, they're trying to do a few other ones. One Piece kind of overtook Digimon. And like at our local card shop, people have switched over to one or the other. It's like your companies are kind of shooting themselves in the foot. But anyway, the card game's phenomenal. It's been getting sets pretty consistently, and the sets are really speaking to various aspects of the lore. It's just been a huge year for Digimon, and we got another movie trailer, which the movies have loose continuity, so it's kind of like... So originally, we had 5 seasons. The 6th and kind of 7th were kind of poorly received. They were a bit more geared at a younger audience, and it kind of stagnated the franchise for a bit. But then they decided to go the route of reviving the original through a series of movies, but they were very hit and miss. They were extremely dialogue heavy, repetitive, and they messed with the continuity in ways that, as somebody who really enjoys continuity, kind of inflames me. So that's the Digimon Tri movies. And then they've done a couple movies post them, and that are supposed to be in the same continuity but don't work. So it's kind of very confusing. I guess Digimon as a franchise, I probably could be less vague. It sort of goes with the idea that not only is the digital world parallel to our world, but there are multiple digital worlds, multiple Earths. So it does kind of make sense that you would have very similar scenarios that aren't quite in the same timeline, but I hate it when a franchise makes you have to work to figure out to accept its continuity. It's like just do it, guys. Just have your little notepad beside you, what you can do, what you can't do, what contradicts the other stuff. Like, but no, it's a very exciting time to be a Digimon fan. I guess I can get a little bit more into the TF aspects of it.
Because I wanted to ask a bit more about that in particular, just because like every time I've seen it come up in like fandom media, there's like 5 or 6 Digimon that like people like seem to gravitate to, and like, I mean, one of them's a werewolf, so like, yeah, that makes sense. But like, I was curious to know how TF gets integrated into the franchise, and also like why those 6, you know?
Well, I think first of all, why those 6 aesthetically? You have like, you have your werewolf, you have Leomon, your muscled lion, and various of Leomon's evolutions. Renamon is very aesthetically pleasing and kind of androgynous, so I've seen Renamon done both ways. Digimon canonically...
That's the bread one, right?
What?
Is that the bread one? The one that eats bread?
Oh, that's Guilmon.
Sorry, I'm asking dumb
Sorry,
questions.
that's Guilmon.
Oh,
sorry.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I will I will accommodate. So Renamon is the fox.
Okay.
Yeah. Guilmon is the red dinosaur that eats the bread. It's kind of like the character. The joke is that his tamer works in his parents work at a bread shop. That's what he ends up feeding him very early on, and he just that's kind of where the meme is. Yeah. But a bakery. So he has access to bread, and just kind of becomes a nostalgic thing for them later on in the series when they're undergoing all the childhood traumas. It's just like, they can get back to the bakery and make some bread before they go fight the ultimate evil.
You know what? Bread would also cure my trauma, honestly. So you know what? I'm not even gonna fault them. Like I'm valid.
But yeah, I do think. And obviously we do gender Digimon in art and stories, but like canonically they don't have gender, they don't reproduce. Digimon, instead of being living creatures, are components of data, and they go through stages or levels. Like they hatch from eggs, and then you have your 2 what are considered infant levels, in training and in training 2. Rookie is sort of the level where you mostly see Digimon and their partners in the series, and then they grow from that. There's Champion, Ultimate, Mega, and there's kind of some Beyond Mega. But it's essentially like the 4 levels of main growth that you see, and all like the main Digimon you see people transforming into are kind of all over the place. Like technically Renamon's at the rookie level, but it has like a very sort of adult physique, so people kind of go that route. And I guess in terms of Yeah, it's a little bit weird too because like you see instances of certain Digimon being extremely old compared to others of their species, although they should be at the same middle stage level. So it's kind of there's continuity issues that sort of deal with the fact that it's not the same digital world in each series. But
it's giving chaos.
It is definitely chaos. Yeah, but yeah, I think like. I do think a lot of it's aesthetics. Like people see, hot werewolf, hot lion man, hot fox, that can go either way. Right. Like it's just very, and of course when we were young and less furry, we'd see Angelomon with giant tits, and I've got a lesbian friend at locals who enjoys the decks with big tits. So
exactly.
there's definitely, and I mean it's Japan, right? Like there's Japan Japan, I guess, with character designs.
I have another dumb question.
Yes.
Why do some of them turn into like Gatling guns? Like,
because why not? So
that's not an answer.
Oh no. I do have an answer. Actually, I have a lore answer.
Okay.
So. Japan, as you know, has a lot of lore around spirits and other worlds and entities influencing various events. Some very specific, like yokai lore and protectors and those things. And a lot of Digimon are based on those concepts. Now, the sort of in-universe lore is that, did we come up with these and were bits of data on the internet influenced to create Digimon, or was there some contact with the digital world that inspired these stories? But yeah, a lot of them are based off very specific yokai, and a lot of yokai have like although a lot of them are kind of grotesque, but for example, with the Kappa, with having like the hollow head and the water within, like if you like tip them over in the water comes out, they are completely helpless. But there's a Kappa Digimon, Guapamon, where instead of water, it's got like DJ discs, and he's like a rapper. So it's just kind of like plays on those sorts of lores in different and kind of interesting ways. But yeah, the famous one is like Terriermon, which is this kind of like bunny dog type thing, evolving and getting genes and machine gun arms, and it's like, why not?
You know what? I mean, evolution. Honestly, I can't fault them for that. If that's where their heart guides them to, then that is fair.
The other thing that's gonna really blow your mind is that Digivolution isn't stagnant. Depending on the various lore, any Digimon could become almost any other Digimon.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, so the lines within the main series are pretty much set, but there is some... It's essentially the bond between the tamer and partner that allows the energy for Digivolution, which is just evolution, but, we had to jazz it up in America. So, yeah. But it is heavily influenced on that bond, and there are sort of like dark evolutions depending on various traumatic experiences, like watching a Digimon's heart get ripped out before you as her tamer cries in horror, and you wanting to get revenge, and your little bread boy turning into a demonic dragon capable of destroying the digital world with its by being such a hazard to the program.
Wait. So you can rip out a Digimon's heart, but then they will turn into a demon, potentially?
No, sorry. The Digimon whose heart was censored, ripped out, died. And the tamer of Little Bread Boy was so enraged seeing his childhood best friend mourning the death of her Digimon that his emotions turned his Little Bread Boy into a giant demonic dragon. As an example.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So that bond, the bond can both positively and negatively affect. Now, it's generally, the idea is, well, in the first series, each of the chosen children have a crest based on a predominant emotion or trait. And once they explore and discover that about themselves, it allows their Digimon to digivolve to the higher levels, like courage, friendship, love, hope, that sort of thing.
Right.
But so that's an example of the bond working in that respect. But yeah, it's and all of that to say the lines are pretty much static in the series.
Yeah.
In that way, but depending on the particular media, you can, like, most rookies can turn into like they call them the bad evolutions because they're just essentially either beings made of poop or mollusks that throw their own poop.
What?
Yeah, Digimon's wild.
Sorry. So Digimon can turn into poop.
Yes. I think it harkens back to, because Digimon was originally like a V-Pet type thing, where like you would have to like feed it and play with it and pick up its poop. So it's like
right.
So there were a few Digimon evolutions that were like, they're just poop. So if you abuse your Digimon and don't clean up after it, it just turns into poop. So I think that's where that harkens from. But then like there's like a whole line of poop Digimon now. It's a thing. Jesus. And I haven't even started about talking with the TF aspects of Digimon yet. we're just giving you a basic crash course here.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like I'm sitting at the cork board with the red string, attempting to follow along and like pull these pieces together. I'm like, okay, so some of them turn into poop, and this one eats bread, and if you rip out a heart, this other one will turn into a refrigerator. Okay, so the TF aspect.
You've got it.
Tell me about the TF. Okay, good.
Okay.
So the TF aspect.
So you've got a few different things going on. Aside from the evolution itself, which is technically TF, because you've got Digimon turning into other Digimon is TF. In of itself, but then you've got season 2 introduced a merge TF. Just they call it the DNA Digivolution.
Oh no!
No. It's not what you're thinking.
Okay.
So it's essentially the two tamers thinking and feeling in unison allowed their Digimon to fuse, and the fusions are generally pretty best traits from one, best traits of the other.
Okay.
And it's essentially, and we're not doing a 2vix thing here either. Don't worry.
Okay, I'm lowering my canceled stance. I'm putting it away for now. Please continue.
It's fine. You don't need. Yeah, you can put it away. Trust me.
Okay, I'm putting it away.
So, the minds are merged, the bodies are merged, and it's temporary.
Oh, it's temporary. Okay.
Yeah, it's like coming together. Feeling your hearts as one, coming together to fight a great evil, and then...
Oh, it's like Steven Universe.
Kinda, yeah. It's more like Steven Universe.
Okay.
Yeah, except it's not a separate personality like in Steven Universe. It's like a combination. Okay. Right. And I guess the Digimon enjoy it. Like, not in like any kind of adult way or anything like that, but it's just like...
I know what you mean.
But yeah, it's they are happy to support their partners in that way and fight together. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's... It is kind of weird because, like, you have... so, the first two to fuse in Season 2 are X-Vmon and Stingmon. Boyfriend and I got some art. Not of the fusion, just of us turning into X-Vmon and Stingmon. Because fusion or merging isn't our thing. But,
yeah.
You have a buff muscular dragon dude, and then a buff muscular insect, anthro-insect. And essentially, with the fusion, you have the insect arms with the blade stingers. You've got kind of like a mutant head. You've got like the dinosaur's feet. It's kind of interesting, and actually, it gets weirder because there's a version where every body part is swapped, and that's a completely different Digimon.
Oh,
but
okay.
But anyway, yeah, you've got that merger. There is a really weird one where it's like an angel and an ankylosaurus turned into a Japanese statue.
Huh.
Yeah, that one hit out of left field, especially in childhood too. Like you have cat and eagle becoming small anthrobird, very small, very agile anthrobird. I'm like, okay, I can kind of see that because you see like the cat ears and you see like the talon feet and like the clawed hands with the feathers and like that works.
Sure.
But then you have Angel and Ankylosaurus becoming Japanese statue. No.
Okay. And sorry. So let me get this clear. So you have X-Vmon and this. What was the other
Stingmon.
one becoming the Stingmon, and they become the bird one.
No.
and then the bird...
Okay, go back.
Start again.
Xvmon and Stingmon become... It's kind of a mutant, because it's got dinosaur and insect traits. Paildramon is the name of it. But, and it has, like, little side machine guns, because Digimon, of course, it does.
Right.
As one does.
As one does.
The bird one is an eagle Digimon, Aquilamon, and a cat Digimon, Gatomon. Now, the angel... I was going to say, the angel and the Ankylosaurs, that's pretty easy. It's Angemon and Ankylamon, because of originality, becomes a Japanese statue, Shakulamon. Which, that one makes no sense. It does and it doesn't, but you really have to dig, and they shouldn't make you have to dig.
Yeah, I would agree that they shouldn't make you dig, because I am like, what? What?
Oh my god, your reactions are so priceless, and I've just started.
I know, I'm just trying to understand. I feel like me and most of the people in the audience are like, what? So you put this and this,
I wonder if you're in the minority
statue
for this particular...
You know what? I might.
Yeah.
That would actually be really funny. Maybe everyone here,
with your particular audience,
yeah, man, that's just Digimon. They're like, it's Digimon. How the fuck did you miss this? And I'm like, I don't know. I only saw Pokemon. I never saw Digimon. I thought there was like, one little like path, and your little Charmander becomes like a daddy Charizard, and that's it. That makes sense. It's 1, 2, 3. This one, it's like, okay, so we can merge and we can go in this direction or that direction, and maybe you'll become poop, or maybe you'll get your heart ripped out, and maybe you're ending up at the bakery. I don't know. Who knows, right? And I'm just like, okay, all right. Sure.
You're sort of following along.
Kind of.
You can see me. I'd be giving you this thumbs up right now.
Yeah, I appreciate that, because I feel like I'm also like, because here's the thing, like, Digimon was really big in the 90s and the 2000s. So, like, on the one hand, I feel like I'm being like, like, grandpa being like, that's nice, kids, go off and have fun. But also, this is supposed to be for my age group. So I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah,
man,
you're younger than I am.
I don't go here.
But, I mean, it was going on for enough years that, like, your introduction to Digimon, like, my boyfriend's introduction to Digimon was season 4, which we still haven't gotten to. That's the most significant TF-related season.
Oh my god.
You're still struggling with the merging.
Right, okay, so hit me with the season 4.
Oh, no. We're not there yet.
We're not there
yet. We're not there yet.
Oh god, okay.
We have merging with Digimon. Now, we're going to merge with the kids.
Wait, the kids merge with the people?
Season 3.
Or, sorry, the kids merge with the Digimon?
Yes. Okay,
you have my attention.
Okay,
Continue.
so season 3, the main characters, we've actually talked about them. So it's a girl, Rika, and Renamon. Takado's the main character with Guillemon, Bread Boy. And then you've got Henry with Terriermon, the little bunny that turns into the guy with the machine guns.
Right.
So that season's a little bit different in that instead of the inherent power of human emotion allowing the Digimon to evolve, it's wishing. Okay. So, like, Digimon were programs made in a game that eventually, the program was so complex it eventually evolved to become sapient. But the ability to Digivolve was removed because at the same time, a counter program to prevent them from evolving also became infected with the same sort of basic subroutines and evolving along with them to delete them in order to prevent that program from getting more complex. Digimon remove their own ability to evolve for that series. And anyway, they essentially put it into another little Digimon who made its way to the real world and keeps intervening with the fights and allowing them to evolve, although none of them realize it for a while. But he's essentially the power of wishes. Allowed them to put all the abilities in this Digimon. Don't worry about that. Ignore what I just said. It's more for the audience who are aware of Season 3. So for the first few levels... I guess, it's wish-based. So they are able to Digivolve their Digimon to the, tertiary form, the ultimate level. But in order to get to the final form, Megas, the accident where the one... Beelzemon, actually, is another kind of hot Digimon. He's like a demon with biker gear and a motorcycle and shotguns.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Anyway, he kills this one other tamer's Leomon partner by, shoving his claw through his chest. And the rage that Takado feels forces Guillemon to Digivolve to a berserk mega. But then once that mega is defeated, he has his upset. He's like, I was wrong. This isn't what I wanted. I didn't want you to become a monster. I wanted to fight with you and get stronger. So their wish was to fight together. So in order to achieve mega, they fuse. But essentially the child is within the Digimon in the data code instead of like an actual physical merger.
Okay.
So it's essentially the wish is to fight with them to give them enough power to go to the mega level.
Okay. So the tamer is in the code, but is not part of the physical merge?
Yes.
Okay.
And then whenever
like
they talk, it's both voice actors speaking in unison.
Okay.
Or sometimes.
It's almost like a possession.
It's not a possession because they're kind of working in tandem.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's not a possession.
Okay. But there is I guess it's like a mental fusion, but the body is separate for the human still.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because
I can understand
when
that.
people are in the digital world, it's because it's not a flesh and blood and DNA based world. It's digital code, so it's essentially like a copy is made within digital code, and that allows, because they are of the same substance, they're allowed to merge. Although it was kind of a trope being like once they have to go to the human world to finish the series, they're just given the ability to do it, and it doesn't really explain how. But again, wish-based. There's essentially these little gnomes that exist in the digital world that grant wishes to people who wish hard enough, but they just kind of do it on their own whim. Uh-huh. But anyway, but yeah, that merger is, again, it's temporary. Right. But yeah, it's essentially the symbology is them fighting, wishing so hard to fight together that they're able to.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, that one. I guess that one's simple. Okay, now we'll move on to season 4.
No, that one's simple.
Yeah. So
there's more.
There's more.
You look over and I've got tears streaming down my face, and I'm like, "There's more.
There's more.
There's more."
This went on. The Digimon part went on longer than I thought.
Jesus.
I didn't realize I'd have to explain what Digimon were to you. Yes,
it's okay because I meant it when I said I know like nothing about this, so I'm just sitting here like, okay, and then there's more after that.
So the lore in season 4 is that long ago, 10 individual spirits came together to seal away basically a demon lord in canonical lore. Uh-huh. And they died in doing so, and their spirits were left behind as little bits of armor. Mm-hmm. And essentially, one of the protectors of the digital world brings in humans in order to embody that armor and fight against a force that's seeking to revive the demon lord. So instead of having Digimon partners, they find these spirits and their devices are able to equip the armor to become the Digimon.
Oh, so they're directly becoming.
Yeah, they're directly becoming the Digimon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's hot. I can get behind that.
Well, they are kids, but I've done.
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah. Sorry.
No. The Digimon, the armored Digimon are. No, I know what you mean. Like the armored Digimon themselves are adult.
Yeah.
I've done.
Okay, so basically,
I've done TF of adults becoming.
So basically, what I'm hearing is like they basically in season 4 introduced a mechanic whereby if you wanted to make your own fan stuff about it, now there is a canonical way for someone to become a Digimon.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm now very clearly seeing why people can then draw the connection between transformation and these Digimon, because I mean, like, you don't even need that technically. I mean, people get into like turning into Pokemon all the time, and there's much less there. But like, that's a direct one-to-one mechanic. Like, that makes total sense to me.
Yeah, and yeah, I guess that's basically it for season 4. Really, it's the kids embodying the armor and different forms of the different spirits. And there is some merging, but not the physical bodies, but rather the spirits themselves merge. Okay. And then one of the kids can become the embodiment of the merged spirit.
Okay.
Yeah. So to get to more power level, to get to higher power levels. Yeah. Although and they're canonically known as hybrids, but it's a little bit that one kind of shirks the levels of Rookie Champion, Ultimate, and Mega, so that's why it didn't resonate with a lot of fans. Because like some of the hybrids of that, you would think they would be okay. The first evolution, you would think it would be a champion, but they're going around beating champions and ultimates and whatnot. But sometimes losing to rookies, it's weird. Yeah. Like it just kind of shirked the. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, I'm gonna reel this back in because I know we want to get to the next topic. But I guess my last question on the Digimon front, if you could summarize, what do you think is so inherently interesting from a transformation perspective when it comes to people being obsessed with those like top 6 Digimon?
Other than aesthetics, I think I think it's the appeal that you have this. That you can potentially have connection with this Digimon enough to become it, or yeah, and again, your top 6, they're just hot. Like the designs are really good; they're iconic.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I think that's
that makes sense to me.
Yeah, that's honestly, it's aesthetics largely, but like then also you can like. Yeah. You can like have your Digimon partner and either like or like kind of be influenced by them as they are influenced by you. I think is the appeal. Like I've had a few stories where like someone gets a Digimon partner and then they become that type of Digimon as well. And it's essentially and I've had some where it's like kind of like human evolution where it's like if you train or absorb enough energy or have enough hope or focus, then you can become something physically stronger, and that can be a Digimon because there is that overlap. So I think there's definitely some appeal in the process as well as the aesthetic of the final forms.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense.
So yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up.
Cool. Well then, I know we wanted to talk a little bit about one other property. And I feel like this one is more familiar to me and also probably more familiar to other people, and that is related to gargoyles. Because if y'all grew up in the 90s, y'all know about gargoyles. It was pretty fucking popular and also really good, and also hilariously, like, Star Trek The Next Generation, the reunion, it felt like, at times. But, you know, I mean, I'm not complaining about that, to be clear. But I'd be curious to hear a bit more about your own kind of experience with the franchise and what kind of, like, transformation stood out to you as being, like, of particular interest.
So I got in on the ground floor of this one because I was 5. And originally, Gargoyles started as a straight-to-DVD movie. 90s VHS, my bad. Straight to VHS movie that had it had a little like it had a board game at the end that you could play, and you would play it after the movie. And at certain points, it would just like have music in a screen, but then at certain points it would stop and be like, the player whose turn it is has to do this. So it was like that was like a fun little thing. The movie, I can't remember. Yeah, the movie was kind of acceptable for kids, but when it was eventually ordered to series, a few more adult content got snuck in. And I don't mean adult as in like what we consider adult. I just mean inappropriate for like a PG-7 or whatever, or G, whatever the ratings were. Like for example, blood. There's a opening scene where Goliath wakes up from stone and he grabs his sword as it's going to swing, and then Goliath's claw bleeds, and he's like, see, they can bleed, we can get them, and just no. The physical disparity between humans and gargoyles is very obvious. And the second is a famous line from Xanatos, the main villain, also voiced by Jonathan Frakes, William Riker, for your TNG nerds. Pay a man enough and he'll walk barefoot through hell. And I'm like, that made it through the censors. Somehow. But yeah, I think aside from the sort of like the noir setting and the brilliant writing, very talented voice acting, willingness to delve into darker themes, and huge continuity, check marks, and bringing in folklore from all over the world, legends, folklore, mythology. It turned out to be this really amazing series that was way too mature for 90s Disney. It still holds up as like a cartoon that you can just go in as an adult and watch. Like it holds up with like a lot of the fiction, the cartoons that come out that people really enjoy nowadays.
Yeah.
And also the creator is very pro-LGBT. He has gone on to do a few other projects. He's mostly Marvel and DC, but he's done a few other things. The one I'll bring up just on the queer-friendly front is Young Justice. So it's like a DC property, kind of like Teen Titans, but not quite. It's like the sidekicks forming a team of like your Robin and Kid Flash and Aqualad and that. But that one decided to bring in a few lesser known characters. Like, for example, their Aqualad wasn't the original Aqualad; it was the second. And in reason lore is because like they were both training and got the opportunity to take up that new mantle that was made, but then the lesser known person did in that universe, and the other one stayed to train. So it opened the door to, for example, that version of Aqualad is interested in a girl his age earlier on, but then as he becomes an adult, he has a same-sex relationship. And another very lesser-known comic character, or with a similar power set, was a Muslim individual who was revived by alien technology. And in that character's journey of self-discovery, they decide to identify as non-binary. And this got some fan backlash, and the creator essentially went on, like, these people exist, shut up, I don't care if you don't like it.
Yeah.
So, Gargoyles also had planned to do some LGBT characters. There are some that exist in the comics, which takes place after the series. Obviously, this would never show up in 90s Disney, but yeah, there is room for sort of like interspecies relationships, queer relationships, and possibly, going down the line, a lot of the mythology characters could possibly be non-binary or various genders, depending. Again, wasn't really shown in the show, but there's opening for that. But that's just in the side. So I think with Gargoyles being formative, like, first of all, you have, and I was thinking about this last night when I was reflecting on it, but technically you have like statue and animate TF right off the bat.
I mean, that's like inherent.
Yeah,
that's inherent to the
and I'm like, that's right? Not where my mind goes when I think Gargoyle TS, but that's technically the biggest one.
It is where mine goes sometimes.
I figured.
But sorry, continue.
But yeah, just the fact that they biologically turn to stone by day, and they try to they kind of try to explain it in the show. Kind of more biologically, as well. It's magic based. Like, magic exists in this world, and they don't really know, but they just wonder if they're storing solar energy to power flight muscles. Gargoyles are shown to eat, but they don't necessarily have to. So I wonder if they. I don't necessarily know if that's canon, but they may not have to eat when they're in the stone state, or eat while they're animate, because they have the stone state, and the stone state also heals most wounds, but leaves them vulnerable to, it leaves them completely vulnerable. They have no way to wake up until the sun comes down. So the stone can be, not that a stone statue is easy to smash, the show makes it look a lot easier than it is, but...
I was going to say, I mean, like, the whole first episode, they destroy a bunch of them. So, like, they make it look real easy.
Yeah, but again, these are Vikings with heavy weapons,
Yeah, I mean...
and specifically going in to do so. Because, like, the idea, gargoyles are very territorial, and they will defend their home, and quite often have symbiotic relationships with the humans, in which, humans protect them by day, and then gargoyles protect them by night. So it's, like, makes it very hard to conquer a castle.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, like, the main premise, the gargoyles we know are in Scotland, and most of their clan gets wiped out because of a human's betrayal, and via magic, the remaining 6 gargoyles are forced to stay in stone until a very specific... I'm gonna do a huge plot spoiler for Gargoyles, because I think it is the best, the most awesome...
This came out in 1994. I think it's fine to...
This is the most interesting written shit about a villain.
Yeah.
So, it's... Anyway, the premise of the spell, it ends when the castle rises above the clouds. So, Xanatos, voiced by Jonathan Frakes, takes the entire castle, builds it upon a skyscraper that he owns, moves it piece by piece to awaken the gargoyles. And you're wondering, why the hell is he doing it, other than saying because he can, because he needs protection, blah, blah, blah. It turns out time travel exists in this world. There's a specific MacGuffin that does it. It's called the Phoenix Gate.
Yes.
And you have to there's a chant, you need to activate it. Time travel in this world works. If you time travel, you were ordained to do so. Right. You can't go back and change the past. If you go back in time, you had already done so, and the world around you works with that premise.
Yeah, which is, in my opinion, the most objectively, scientifically sound version of time travel.
Yeah, there's no split timelines. Topic. It's just there is one timeline. Well, fuck Marvel. I love Marvel. But, like, yeah, no branching timelines. But yeah, so essentially what happens is there's an episode where Xanatos jumps back through time and Goliath goes after him. Mm-hmm. He goes back to the time of Goliath and the other gargoyles being in their Scottish home and in that castle.
Yes.
And Goliath didn't meet. But anyway, so Xanatos meets members of the castle that are part of the Illuminati, because the Illuminati exists.
Because of course they do.
Yeah. So he has a ring to verify that he's a member of the Illuminati, and they see that. Mm-hmm. He gives a coin and a set of instructions to the Illuminati member to be delivered in, like, the 1970s, whenever he'd be a young man, 1980s.
Yeah.
The coin is worth dividends more by then. That's how he starts his fortune.
Yes.
And then another set of instructions telling him that he has to go back, he has to buy the castle, build the skyscraper, put the castle on, get the gargoyles, so that the time travel event can happen to make himself a multi-billionaire.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he essentially writes himself to be the villain. This is fucking meta shit. I love it.
Oh, it's
There's
great.
entire...
Oh,
go ahead.
I think one of the things I just love about that kind of setup is, like, the circularity of it always fascinates me, because, like, who decided first to do that, given it already happened, kind of thing. But I mean, it's also an excellent. I mean, the dynamic between Xanatos and the Gargoyles throughout the series is really interesting, especially because he, like, was the one who got them out of their imprisonment, but then also does a lot of manipulation and, like, does a lot of, like, villain shit, basically.
Yeah, he's definitely a sociopath, but, like, he's extremely intelligent, and he doesn't... There are times when it is inconvenient for him for his evil machinations to go against the gargoyles, so he helps them. And I guess he's sort of a man of honor, because, again, at the end, the gargoyles kind of get together. His wife is descendant from Fae, and we'll get into this a little bit more later. But essentially, their son has magical abilities, and the king of magical creatures. I'll get into the specifics because it is something I want to talk about in a little bit. Goes after him and wants to bring him and train him. So the gargoyles help save him, essentially, and they eventually, convince him to be allowed to be trained. Yeah. So with his sense of honor at the end of the series, when the gargoyles' current home is destroyed, he welcomes them back into the castle and provides them daytime protection and completely leaves them alone forever as part of... Well, he says forever, but I mean, the comic continue things. But they essentially are at peace again. Yeah, because of what the gargoyles did for his son.
And I mean, again, spoilers for a show that came out in 1994, but, like, this guy managed to somehow get Puck to be his lifetime servant, which is absolutely hilarious, because Puck was like, okay, you figured me out. Do you want to be immortal forever? Do you want me to work for you? And he's like, yeah, the guy's going to pick immortality, because who wouldn't? And then he's just like, no, I just want you to work for me. And he's like, what?
It's
and
one wish.
Like, that's what you offered.
Yeah, that's a whole other really cool thing. So I'm just going to get into it now. There are 3 races in gargoyles, and technically they can probably all interbreed.
Yes.
Yeah. The humans and gargoyles thing was never necessarily confirmed, or it was supposed to be confirmed, because the main human woman Elisa falls in love with Goliath, and she does eventually want to have kids, and that was part of her hesitation for being with him. But then they hear that actually it is possible for humans and gargoyles to have children, because these 3 races can interbreed. Like, you see multiple instances of... So it's the 3 races are humans, gargoyles, and Oberon's children, because of all the mythologies, the head of all magical creatures is Shakespeare, Midsummer Night's Dream.
Yes. And which, honestly, I love this for them because, frankly, I think Shakespeare is a banger and everyone should read Shakespeare. And like the fact that this show had so much from Midsummer's Night Dream and like
Macbeth.
Othello and Macbeth.
Literally, Macbeth is the Macbeth from Macbeth is a recurring villain, and he's voiced by the actor who plays Gimli in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. And, like
he did a lot of voice acting. I think he still does.
He did. And like they made a bunch of like other unrelated like deities, essentially canon characters as well. I mean, like I think of like Coyote from like Native American like trickster lore, and like Anubis is there, Anansi is there,
Odin is there, Cuchulainn is there, the Banshee, and all of these creatures are Oberon's children. Yes. They all originate. Not directly, but like they are all magical creatures get their power from Oberon. He can, exactly. He does have command over them. With a word, he can take their power from them. But yeah. Anyway, the whole thing I was going to get into earlier, and this ties into what you were saying with Owen / Puck. Titania took on a human form. Both Oberon and Titania split in order to better understand humans. And Titania becomes a human woman and gets with this rich tech billionaire.
Yes.
Yeah. Renard. That's why her name is Fox.
Helicon Renard.
Yeah. And their daughter doesn't have magical abilities, though she goes on to marry Xanatos, and she just goes by Fox legally, which, is funny because she wants to...
Which is a banger name.
It is a banger name, and it's funny that her father's name was Renard, and she wants to separate. But she's a villain early on. And that's a whole other thing with the Xanatos Gambit being like a major trope. It's just like everything he does that fails, he actually had another plan no one saw coming that succeeded. And like one of them was to like break out because this one villain group called the Pack, and there's some TF with them too. We haven't even gotten to TF stuff again. My God.
I know.
But essentially, they're like a villain group that go after the Gargoyles. They go to jail. They view they're like action TV stars that view the Gargoyles as like a physical challenge. So they go after them, but then they go in jail because they break a bunch of property. But because when there's a prison breakout, she doesn't go with them. She gets early parole, and that was Xanatos' goal because he's in love with her. But then there's the whole main focus of the plot is the Pack being out and Xanatos having a robot that gets destroyed, and she's like, "Oh, but they destroyed your robot. Don't you care?" And he's like, "No, that wasn't my goal." So it's just that whole fucking Xanatos trope. It's like everything he does, there's another plot behind it. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, their child has magical abilities, and Puck was another one of Oberon's children that decided to take on a human form. He takes on the form of Bernard's assistant, or he takes on a human persona that's very boring and wooden that looks exactly like him and acts exactly like him, who ends up being Xanatos' assistant, and Xanatos eventually discovers it, and he gets made that choice. It's like, you get one wish from the Puck, or Owen will stay with you and serve you forever. And he's like, he chose Owen. And Puck found that a fascinating decision. But yeah, anyway, back to the whole inanimate. We'll circle back to the. But there's just so much awesome about Gargoyles.
Well, I want to get to the TF because there's a few elements from this show that really stood out that I think were really formative to people, and so I want to start off with Demona.
Yes.
Because I feel like that is one of the most important examples from this franchise, and also gives us some banger TF scenes.
And it's a good segue because we were just talking about Puck. So Puck, a lot of magical creatures are tied to specific objects. Puck is tied to a mirror. And the Fae, where Oberon's children are all weak to iron, so she essentially puts some iron chains around the mirror, summons Puck with his ritual. He's in chains, essentially. Can't really do anything. Has to listen to her. Through a series of misadventures, like she wants to get rid of the Gargoyles by that turn, or get rid of Elisa, because she hates Elisa, because Goliath is falling in love with her. So that turns Elisa into a gargoyle. Sadly, poof TF. We'll get rid of the Gargoyles. That turns all the Gargoyles humans. Get rid of everyone in Manhattan. Turns them all into Gargoyles. So it's, by the end of the episode, they're all free, but Puck is just like, well, I did fuck with you, so here's one wish, and she wishes to be able to be awake at sunrise. So the trick is a gargoyle can't, but a human can. So every day she TFs into a human, and every night she TFs back into her gargoyle self. And also she's randomly immortal because of Macbeth. Because of the story of Macbeth,
with, like, the three witches or something.
Yeah, with the weird sisters from Macbeth. But yeah, she's also immortal. But yeah, so there are very visceral and painful TFs of Demona going back and forth throughout the series. And again, being my gay ass isn't in particularly into that aesthetic, but the stands are very hot.
Oh man. Well, there's also the werewolf episode.
So, and I should also say Demona's voiced by Marina Sirtis from Star Trek. Yes. Next Generation. So the werewolf episode follows another magical item called the Eye of Odin, which, as it turns out, is actually Odin's eye. The actual Norse Odin. But wearing it reveals something. It gives the wearer great power, but it also reveals something about their soul, and it turns Fox into a werefox. And there is a rather visceral transformation of her turning into the werefox on a Halloween episode.
Yes.
And that was also very formative for a lot of people.
Episode. Oh, yeah, easily.
And also, has the added benefit of, the gargoyles can go out on Halloween because it looks like they're wearing costumes.
Oh, man. I mean, that's a time-honored trope.
Yeah.
I mean, really, like, you can't go wrong with a Halloween episode with a bunch of monster creatures.
Exactly.
Right?
But yeah, like, unfortunately, the TFs are killing her because the metabolic needs are a little bit too high for what her body's able to. So she can't eat enough meat to keep her body alive, even though she tries. But yeah, it is, like, she's very feral-minded in the Fox form, and it actually shows Xanatos having a little bit of hint of humanity too. But the TF itself is really detailed.
Oh yeah, absolutely. As is the werewolf one, so...
Oh, that's what I mean, the werefox one.
Yeah, sorry, the werefox one.
Yeah.
I guess then, I feel like there's...
Oh, there's more. There's more. I'll save my favorite for last. But there's a couple more. I guess the Goliath muscle growth one doesn't necessarily count. It's because, like, when he wears the Eye of Odin, he becomes this massive version of himself that just wants to protect, but it's like a toxic protection. Yeah. And eventually he decides it's best to give Odin his eye back because it's actually his magical item. He's like, I can't entrust the Eye of Odin to anyone else. I'm like, it's his eye. It's his eye, my guy. There's Anansi makes a deal with I think it was a queen in order to turn her into a panther. Mm-hmm. And she is in love with a man and asks for him to be turned into a panther and gives service by hunting for Anansi. And their descendants are panthers, but the trick is that she eventually turns back, but her children don't and remain panthers, so she longs to have them back. And then she makes another deal with Anansi, and he turns them back, but then he has no one to hunt for him. But there are were-panthers descendant of them, and there's a bit of TF. You see, like, I've definitely paused on a VHS recording of the pause.
Yeah, I was going to say, who hasn't paused the TF scenes to look at the
I know, right?
Frames,
oh, man.
Like, please.
Yeah, recording things on VHS and just... Yeah. But yeah, I think... I'm probably forgetting a major one. I mean, there's a few others, like the Banshee has like a monster form. Mm-hmm. Reminds me of like the toxins from Animorphs. It's like that big centipede-like creature. And then Odin has a polar bear form, but it's a pretty quick TF. But my major one is a character by the name of Anton Zavarius, who is a mad scientist trope, voiced by Tim Curry.
Yes.
And Xanatos hires him out to create genetically engineered gargoyles. He is able to clone Goliath, aptly named Thalog, which was Goliath backwards.
Because of course.
Yeah, honestly, people who like just have their name be something backwards, it's so lazy.
It kind of is. I'm not gonna deny that. It kind of is.
But the big one is he comes up with a formula to combine the traits of various extant animals to form a gargoyle hybrid. So jungle cats for the body, bat wings. But he can't provide them with enough energy in order to function because they can't replicate the stone sleep. So they infuse them with like electric generation from electric eels. Now, this is not scientifically possible in any way, shape, or form, but let's go for some good scientific trigger painful TF. They
who amongst us wouldn't want that, you know? Like,
I mean, I have TF of me turning into Claw.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
See, there you go.
I don't have it on my FA page just because I like to keep it all story streamed, but the boyfriend has all of the TF that we've gotten on his.
Yeah.
It was Spirit Dancer. They've been absolutely wonderful, turning us into many things, including the Extremon and Stingmon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we've gotten many commissions from Spirit Dancer. They are absolutely wonderful. But anyway, taking people off the streets and injecting them with the formula that turned them into these cat gargoyle mutate hybrids. You get to see Elisa's brother, who was working military and stopped working as Xanatos' personal bodyguard, unwittingly, in quotations, because everything is Xanatos' plan, gets hit by one of the darts and starts turning into a panther hybrid mutate. And you do see a scene where he's help me, and you see his fangs and the fur growing, and you see him kind of rocking back and forth in pain as the hours go past.
What are we gonna do? This is awful.
Yeah, this is so awful.
No.
Oh no, I'm turning into a muscle
My brain
buff.
chemistry is not being changed right now. Oh no.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And they end up becoming somewhat sub-characters. One of the four is a puma, and he's a dick. And I actually have some bonus TF content for you that I'm going to bring up about that character in a moment that you may not have been aware of.
Okay.
So yeah, the puma guy's a dick. He ends up betraying them later on. The one woman is kind of a lioness, and she ends up falling in love with Elisa's brother, who goes by the name of Talon. Derek is his actual name. And finally there's Claw, who is a tiger, and he is mute. Either from the change or before. It doesn't really specify.
Yeah,
but anyway, they eventually form an alliance with the gargoyles. Of course they hate the gargoyles at first because they blame them for the changes in that, but eventually they do form an alliance, and in the expanded comics, Maggie, the lioness, is pregnant.
Oh.
Yeah, so we again haven't seen it, but yeah, she's in a relationship with Talon, with Derek, so yeah. We'll see what becomes of it. My only gripe, and this is going to divide your listener base, Zil, so get ready.
Okay.
They don't have...
I mean, I've already been dropping controversial opinions. So go ahead.
They don't have tails, and I don't like that.
No! Canceled.
I know.
I'm getting the cancel stamp out now. I can't believe this. On this show of all shows, my beloved gargoyle, I'm shedding a tear. It's like that gif from The Wire with the tears going down his face with the gun. That's me with the canceled stamp. How could you do this to me?
Oh.
0 out of 10, no tail.
I know.
You know, I mean...
That, like, I if I could be like a buff anther lion and not have a lion tail, like, why even live?
Yeah, like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Like, come on. You can't not have
No,
tail.
I know.
All right.
But anyway, the final little bit of... the final little treat is that Savarius, despite apparently dying multiple times, he's another kind of sadistic person that keeps faking his own death. In the comics, he keeps his animal-human hybrid experimentation going. And there's a spin-off called Bad Guys, the main artist of which used to go to FE, Corinne Charbot.
Okay.
Yeah, she doesn't anymore, but I got her to sign my copy, I didn't get her to sign my copy. I took it the next year and she wasn't there. I did get her to commission, I did get a commission from her of my, at the time, Wolfstona with gargoyle wings and talons. So, I have that. Okay. That's cool. But the spin-off focuses on villains from different groups trying to get redemption. And they do eventually go after Savarius, and he's got some mutates in one of his cages. And Greg Wiseman asked his kids to pick animals for the people to have been turned into. And one was a woodlouse. Ooh. They were both bugs. I think one was a cockroach and one was a woodlouse.
Huh.
And you see the hybrid forms in the comic.
Huh. That is an interesting choice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so then to wrap this up before we go into audience questions, what would you say? Because I think there's a lot of potential listeners who haven't watched Gargoyles, haven't seen the TF content or anything like that. What would you say would be the main draw for people to go check it out?
Honestly, I think I summed it up pretty well when we started talking. Just the writing, the lore, the massive lore dump continuity of the world that they've built, kind of on top of a pretty standard New York 1990s. The voice acting, the musical score, it's just everything was just peak. Like they're both like, their voice cast was all like Shakespearean actors and people from Star Trek, which actually, when I say that out loud, there's a lot of overlap.
There's a lot of overlap.
There's a lot of overlap.
As well. Yeah.
Patrick Stewart isn't in it, but David Warner, who is an actor who did theater productions, may he rest in peace. He did theater productions with Patrick Stewart and did that amazing... He was the Cardassian in the one episode who's torturing Picard. Yes. Trying to, get him to believe his reality of there are four lights. But yeah, anyway, he's a recurring villain as well in it. But yeah, a lot of voice acting is phenomenal. Pretty much everyone was in Star Trek. You've got Michael Dorn's Worf. You've got Marina Sirtis, Jonathan Frakes. Brent Spiner is Data, is Puck. Geordi, LeVar Burton was Anansi. Janeway was Titania. O'Brien makes a cameo as Kook Thalan's father in one episode. Avery Brooks Sisko was an alien.
Yeah.
Like, it's just... Nichelle Nichols was Elisa's mother. Like, just tons and tons and tons of start. Elisa's actress was in an episode of Deep Space Nine alongside Sisko. Deep cut. But yeah, anyway, just phenomenal writing, phenomenal music. The animation's pretty good. The characters are pretty good. They develop fairly well. Like the trio, Goliath, even Hudson to a degree. There's some pretty serious messages that are really well done in a kid's show. Like the gun safety episode was pulled because one of the Gargoyles, Broadway, becomes fascinated with westerns, and he sees Elisa's gun in a holster when he's visiting her house, and he just picks it up like a toy, and he accidentally shoots her. So she's in the hospital and then recovering for the next two episodes. And then, like, later on, you see her gun is... You see a shot of her apartment, her gun is locked away instead of out in the holster. So, like, little things like that. But, yeah, there was gun safety. There was one on reading, because Hudson, the elder gargoyle, never learned to read. And he has a friend who is blind and reads Braille, so he helps teach him to read. Like, there's so many, like, little things like that. But, like, the deep cut of the lore, and just Xanatos' villain shenanigans, and his... sort of meta-awareness of his villain shenanigans. Like, it's just... The writing is top-notch. I hate to plug Disney Plus in any way, shape, or form, and I would, much rather people... Because I'm pretty sure they don't get any royalties on this. But it is all on Disney Plus, or you can surf the high seas.
Sail the seven seas. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it is. It still holds up. It holds up as well as, like, any of the other sort of banger animations that have come out in the last... a few years that people have watched, and there's a ton of TF content. Ton of TF content. And like I said, the creator has been very staunchly pro LGBT online. Yeah. So that's just another little bonus.
Awesome.
But yeah, no, cannot say enough good things. Watched it with the boyfriend for the first time. He loved it enough that he got multiple TFs with me. He likes becoming Brooklyn. There's a lot of Brooklyn porn out there.
I was gonna say that's like probably the most common one, so I'm not surprised. Everyone loves everyone loves Brooklyn. Yeah. Everyone should love Broadway too.
Broadway is underrated, I think. And Lexington is gay, canonically. He starts exploring himself in the comics, but they had him set up with because gargoyles tend to take the form aesthetically based on the country they're from, so English gargoyles tend to be like lions and unicorns and such. So there is a English gargoyle called Stagheart, which is a stag, and they were supposed to have a romantic relationship had the comics continued, which I think they did. I think a new one came out, and I need to look into this because I keep seeing images from it, and I'm like, this isn't one of the comics I read. What? But anyway.
But yeah, no, people.
One. Don't watch season 3. It's not canon.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. It ends. There's only 2 seasons. I don't know what you're talking about. There's only 2 seasons.
Well, the first season's 13 episodes, and the second season is 50 some episodes.
Yeah,
and it ends. It ends perfect. It like has a perfect ending. Yeah, the Xanatos thing comes full circle.
There's nothing after it. There's nothing after it.
They went to do another season with the voice actors, and they call it Goliath or Gargoyles, the Goliath Chronicles. But the writer stepped back. The animation changed studios, and the creator considers it non-canon. They did come out with like a KKK group to hunt gargoyles, and that is canon. That's in the first episode of season 3, but nothing else is canon. And they do a few things, like they just kind of off some characters in the show, but stupidly, and they're still canonically alive.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what third season you're talking about.
Yeah, it's the writing quality went down. They tried to dumb it down for kids a bit more because they considered what came before it too dark. And again, the creator had nothing to do with it and doesn't consider it canon. Yeah. So don't watch season 3, but yeah, stop it. Stop at season 2, and I think Hunter's Moon is the 3-part finale, and then look to comics. Mm-hmm. There is official comic support that allows you to get away with more mature topics that Disney couldn't in the 90s, like queer relationships. And again, interspecies, because spoiler for a show that came out in the 90s, Goliath and Elisa hook up.
Yes.
But yeah, that is my summary.
Awesome. Well, we did have an audience question that I wanted to make sure we had time for, and this one comes from Other Side. And so his question is, in the past on this podcast, we've talked about a therapy technique that can be used where you like imagine you're a certain character from a film or a game or a media, and you can character TF to get through some situations. So the Other Side is asking, which character would you character TF for it if that was something you were going to use?
It's hard for me because I don't intrinsically like character TFs. Like, I can't really give an answer, and I know it's a cop-out, but I guess I put myself in the mindset of like myself as like one of my own characters, like a werewolf character from a universe I'll never write because it's just too anime influenced. But I put myself in that character's shoes and kind of focus on you know, those tropes of like fighting, and you know, they're simple but they're nice, you know, fighting together with allies to defeat, you know, a common evil type thing. I guess that would probably be my cop-out answer. But yeah, I don't like being particular characters. I just like to be me. And I think that, yeah, I think it just comes down to the fact that I've like so recently, relatively recently, like late 20s, you know, sort of came out into myself, and I just find that so important now to embrace. So I do find it hard to, because I like the person I've become, I find it hard to put myself into the mindset of someone else.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
But yeah, that's my unfortunate cop-out answer.
No, and listen, that's fair. Character TF isn't for everyone. I mean, I know this question gets asked in part because I've brought this up, so like my answer is inherent to what I've already said on the podcast. It's Garrus, but like I also recognize it's not. I think it can be a helpful technique for some people, but it's not necessarily the thing for all people. So like I think that's a fair answer, honestly. And then I have another question here from Sebastian Midias, and the question is, you know, druids have the ability to wild shape, which allows them to turn into animals of their choosing, and they can choose if their items and clothing fall, rip, or merge with their body when they change. So when it comes to yourself, what would your preferred method be when it comes to TF in terms of handling any sort of clothing or item that you might be wearing?
If I am able to TF, my clothing is a small price to pay. I tend to...
You would choose to lose it?
I would choose to lose it.
Wow.
It's hard, too, because, like, if I'm in a D&D setting, I'd want to shift it for convenience, but I feel that's kind of like metagaming in a way. Because you want all your magical items.
Choose, so you can meta if you want. Like, you're getting to choose in this.
True, yeah. I would, for sake of convenience, in a D&D campaign, but as often as I could, I would like either rip out of the clothes or strip naked first. If I was like an actual druid.
Fair. Yeah. I think if I was getting to pick, I would want it to be context specific because I would want sometimes for it to merge and other times to rip out. And I feel like, especially like because the example kind of brought up was like wild shaping. I feel like you should be able to like, if you want to, play out a specific sort of werewolf scenario, maybe you should be allowed to rip out of your clothing. And maybe if you want to use a TF from a more utility-based perspective, like, merge like with Animorphs. So I wouldn't want to set like, it always has to be the same way because I feel like
no, exactly.
if I'm getting the choice, then I don't want to have to always pick the same thing because I like variety,
Yeah.
So
Variety is the spice of TF.
Exactly. Oh, awesome. Well, that was all the questions I had. I don't know if you have any questions for me.
No, I did just want to comment that just like meeting you and other people that I've either talked to because of the podcast or met locally at Friendly Equinox, which is the only con I can really go to now. Hopefully, I keep saying this every year, but it never happens. I hope MFF sometime in the future because it is a bit more local for the boyfriend, but my partner does not do fur cons anymore. They did with me kind of like back in like I think 2019 was their last one, and they did not have a good time for various reasons. But I guess with them, they find it harder to meet friends because they are ace and they don't drink, and while they're trans mask, they're more. It's harder for them to present that way. So there are, I guess, more drawbacks in terms of FurCon for people in those situations. Like you might meet somebody and really hit it off with them, but then never talk to them again. Yeah, and they find with their extrovert energy, they find that a bit hard. But
no, 100%.
But because I've been able to go like with the boyfriend and meet. Anyway, I went off on a tangent there, but because I've been able to like go and like meet you and some other people, like I do feel I've gotten to know you in person. So I can't really think of any questions, but I did just want to emphasize how really cool that is to like not only you but like other people like that you've had on the podcast and people within your friend group as well. Like that's just been really cool. So I can ask you questions there.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Especially while you're under the influence of certain adult beverages and more likely to answer.
Oh, of course. I mean, what are you talking about? That's silly. That's silly talk. I've never done anything like that.
Actually, I know. I do have one joke question. What's your name?
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I said,
Wait, what?
What's your name? No, don't answer. The joke, the deep cut joke is I had asked them for their name, and they showed me their ID, and I forgot what it was.
Yeah, which was really funny, and then I was like, well, that's it.
That was my shot.
That was your shot. So,
yeah.
You know. Oh, my God. Well, thank you so much again for coming on. And speaking of MFF, just a reminder for everyone, since this podcast will be coming out right before it, we will be live at Midwest Fur Fest. So if you would like to see me and a special surprise guest chatting about all things related to transformation, you can check out our live panel. It's on the Sunday, December 7th at 12:30. And it is in room 22, which is one of those rooms on like the convention area. I think it's on the second floor. So if you are curious to see me in person and ask live audience questions or just listen to other people pester me with audience questions, that's going to be the place to be. We got an hour and a half set aside for us, and I'm really looking forward to it. So it should be a good time. But and of course, thank you so much again, Gabe, for coming on. If people are looking to find you online, where can they find you?
So I am on FA at Gabriel Moon. I have my own website, gabrielmoon.ca. Because yay, Canada. Warning, my website is behind on posting because I was having server issues. I finally figured out how to kind of get into the back end. But at least I'm able to like get it running when it shuts down because it keeps shutting down. But I just have to go in the back end and reboot it. But it is behind, and it definitely needs a big overhaul, but I'll get there if I, stop taking commissions for like 5 seconds. I'm on Patreon. Again, just look up Gabriel Moon. Most of my content goes up on Patreon. I post commission drafts every week, so you see them, because I'm like 3 months behind in posting, you'll see them 3 months early. And then I post an exclusive story every month there. I'm working on doing the same with Subscribestar, but again, I'm behind. Hopefully we'll get caught up there soon. I can actually advertise it as a thing, because it will be at the same level. Yeah. I just kind of don't want too many people over there, because it's like, yeah, it's not updated weekly. But yeah, and those are mostly where I do post on Docs Lab, and I'm also Gabriel Moon over there. But yeah, that's those are the, and I'm on Blue Sky as well, Gabriel Moon. Yeah. Or Gabe Moon. I am Gabe Moon in some places, and I cannot remember which ones. Gabe or Gabriel Moon. Oh, yeah. I use the same icon for everything, so you'll know it's me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again, and thank you so much, everyone, for listening to this week's ep. I hope that y'all had as good a time listening as we did recording. And as always, I hope that y'all get some good rest. If you're coming to MFF, please be sure to say hi. I'm looking forward to see folks there. And, keep an open mind and stay TFy, and we'll see you back here again next week.